think everything's in lockdown. Nothing wants to work.
Even Zoom.
Even
Okay,
Zoom.
cool. I think we're live. Yay, we're live. We're live. I think it's working. I can see it in the group. It says we're live.
Yeah.
Webinar is now streaming live. Hey, everyone. With the lovely Emma. I just never say her last name because I always...
A bit like
no matter how many times she tells me how to say it.
Go with the K-Cos then.
Yeah. Why don't you just take Pete's name? Legally, you've got
don't just
Pete's name, hey?
Grumpy about it.
Yeah.
My work name.
Oh, well, thanks, Emma. Thanks for coming on.
Sorry,
we just wanted
if we had it scheduled for 11 or was it 10?
10, I think. Yeah. Well, that's all right.
Today, unprecedented things.
Chaos. And it has been chaotic. And, you know, we understand, obviously, everyone's probably like us too, you know, feeling a bit uncertain. We've never been through anything like this before. Craig was actually just saying, he was telling me that in the States, they were saying like about 8 weeks, like they've been in lockdown for 3 weeks now, and they're predicting about 8 weeks until they sort of come out the other side and everything goes, you know, people go back to work. And, but obviously the quicker people just comply with it, the quicker that things can, it can pass and things can get back to normal. But, you know, a lot of you are, stressing out about the food and not being able to get the food that you want. So we just thought we'd go live and have a chat about, you know, what we believe are the most important things to focus on and then what not to worry about. Because really it's not that hard. You just need to not stress about the small things and definitely don't try to be perfect. Obviously, Craig's been madly working away doing your home gym workouts, which is good. Coming up with some pretty creative stuff. We did some videos today. I'm going to post this actually blooper one that we did. I was going to send it to you, Emma. It's so funny. It's like Craig and I just like losing at each other, and he's telling me I'm so annoying, and it's actually pretty funny. So I'll upload those videos, everyone, later today, and you can have a look at those videos. But yeah, I think in terms of the food, I guess maybe the first thing we can talk about, like, what are the essential things and where you're going to get the nutrients from? And Emma and I were just discussing, you know, liver, number one. You're going to get A, D, E, K, B vitamins. Oysters, obviously it might be a bit hard to get the fresh oysters now, so just go with the little tinned ones, and they're pretty inexpensive too. You can get them off iHerb. That has all your trace minerals in it. Some form of dairy, and again, we'll talk about, like, don't worry so much now about the quality. Like, get quality, but if it's got some enzymes in it or it's not the exact one that you usually eat, it's just more about just get the cheese in. And then some sort of, because that's got calcium, and then some sort of fruit or juice. And if you get those, and then obviously anything on top of that's just energy. But if you hit those 4 foods, you're going to be getting all of the nutrients that you need. So maybe we can first talk about the liver. Obviously, we talk about liver all the time and bang on about it, but just how it's just got so much bang for its buck, really, doesn't it?
Oh, that's it. And we'll talk about nutrient density. More for every mouthful, there's more nutritional bang for your buck. Absolutely. So when you can get those foods that are so concentrated in nutrients, then you can get away with other things, really. So there are certain foods that are more energy dense than not, I suppose, and we need the energy too. We definitely need the calories, but at least with liver, we know that we're getting this intense concentration of nutrients that a lot of them aren't readily available in many other foods at all. I mean, there's nothing that compares for the vitamin A, as everyone knows. And there's certain trace elements, be it the selenium, zinc and things, which often you can only find in, you know, sea creatures and shellfish, but surprisingly, you know, appear in the land animal in their liver. So yeah, it's pretty rare and pretty unique. And if you've stockpiled a bit of liver in your freezer, good luck to you, and you can enjoy eating it. You know, I think some people's butchers are still pretty, you know, they're getting in new stock a lot, but ultimately in whatever form you can get it,
just get it in. Yeah.
There's even things about liver they haven't quite figured out yet. They call it like an anti-fatigue factor, which in terms of recovery, being able to manage stress, it's pretty unique compounds. So, you know, and I think it's that intensity of the nutrients and the profile of the nutrients that is something that is times like these probably even more important.
Because obviously your body's, you know, people are feeling a bit stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think
And
it's.
well, we have to consider, we're like, you know, in the States and parts of Europe, at least they're heading out of winter into summer. And any kind of flu, any kind of coronavirus is obviously more susceptible in colder weather, when we're more vulnerable, when our temperatures are lower, and therefore our metabolic rate is more challenged. So we are more vulnerable to pathogens, to bacteria, to viruses. I mean, you don't hear of the flu season in the middle of summer. So temperature is important, sunshine's important. And we're, on the flip side, we're going out of summer into winter. So we better nip this in the bud soon, because pretty soon, particularly in Melbourne, we'll be in the dead of winter. Not very long, with more challenging.
Get out, get sun when you can, if you can. Yeah.
Oh, and this is, it's just so important. Vitamin D beyond anything. And yes, you can supplement, but it doesn't even compare with the type of vitamin D that you will manufacture from the sun, because the sun doesn't just provide the vitamin D, it provides, you know, the spectrum of light that is going to lower stress, lower cortisol, allow your immunity to be stronger. So any chance you can get, no matter what climate you're in, if you can take the chance, particularly if we're all a bit more, you know, stuck at home, if it's suddenly a nice afternoon and the weather turns good, drop what you're doing and just be outside and make the best of it. So important.
No, I know, you feel so good when you get this. I mean, I'm lucky living in Queensland.
You're in your native. And we're freezing in Melbourne today.
And even in winter, it's still like not freezing in Queensland. It's pretty lucky. I can sit out in the sun on our deck. I'll eat my lunch. I didn't do it today because we've been so busy, but you know, usually it's fine. And then next is the oysters or the shellfish. You know, it probably might be hard to get fresh oysters now, but you can order those little tin ones. You can look for them in the supermarket. You can order them from iHerb. We've actually got I don't know why. I must have ordered heaps of them ages ago. And I reckon I've got like 30 tins of those little like iHerb chili ones. So I'm stocked up.
Before you even board.
And so what's so good about the oysters then, Emma? Like, why are they so good?
Particularly the zinc and copper. And again, you know, not just for immunity, but on so many other levels, on production, on, you know, general cell metabolism, but immunity being a big part of it. Zinc is super important. But the beauty of oysters to access your zinc, as opposed to just taking a zinc supplement, is that it comes with balanced copper. And for every 10 milligrams or so of zinc you take in, you should at least have a milligram of copper. You know, if you can throw one out by ratio, if you just took copper in isolation or zinc in isolation, they need to come together. And this is whereby, you know, if you can say you get your zinc through oysters, you're kind of sorted. You don't have to worry about throwing out copper or throwing out your ratio. But they're perfectly designed in each like that. So first and foremost, if you can get your zinc through eating oysters, you know, supplement is a secondary option if you're desperate, but ideally, absolute oysters. So try and get them fresh. If you can't get them fresh, get them.
And they're not that bad. Yeah. Like, just eat the tin ones aren't that bad. I reckon if you chill them and then heaps of lemon, they're good.
They're the Crown Prince, is it?
They're
smoked ones. I mean, they're pretty unique, aren't they? They're in olive oil. I mean, isn't that crap that we can't readily get smoked oysters in olive oil in Australia?
I know, it's crazy. Hey, it's crazy.
America, it's just ridiculous. But look, in saying that, again, we're talking about trying not to be a perfectionist in this, because you know, you can't be perfect in anything, and that you just set yourself up for being frustrated or feeling like you're a failure. So that's not worth it. But even get smoked oysters from Coles.
Yeah,
you can drain
it all, pat them dry. Yeah,
gentle rinse and pat them dry.
Yeah.
I mean, they get uglier as you go. But you know what? I always remember when my mum had dinner parties in the 80s. You'd have
same
oyster
on the biscuit. Yeah, me too.
Like a slice of lemon, like cut off a bit of the rind, just a slice of lemon. Oh my God, they're so delicious.
Yeah.
And if we get oysters out and we do them like that, it just takes me back to being at a dinner party and back in the 80s.
That's so true.
So that they look really ordinary, but jazzing up, and I don't know, you might as well have
and you only have to eat 12 a week. you know, if you eat your 100 grams of liver and 12 oysters, you get a little tin of the oysters and eat like we say with the pate. It doesn't matter how you get it. The pate, I should say, the liver. It doesn't matter how you get it in. Like you can be like Mel, who can just gag it down. I think April sometimes eats it raw. I'm just like, oh God, you know, make the pate if you
It can be bad.
raw. Yeah, I'm like, oh God, make the pate. You know, if you just like want a bit more, take the liver tablets. You know, Emma and I have been taking the liver tablets, and it's easy. You only have to take 4 morning, 4 night.
I don't know if I would go back to eating liver again.
Oh, I know, me too. It's so easy. Me too.
That took a whole half hour of my day prepping it, cutting it, doing it, dusting it. I just thought, that was easy.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Well, I
it
think
is
it
good.
was easy for me while I was at the stage my kids genuinely loved it. And I was enthused by seeing them enthused, and I wanted to encourage them to make that part of their palate. So I was willing to, awesome, I wanted to encourage it. But they hit an age where they both decided on the same day they didn't want to eat it ever again. They were just, I mean, they might go back to it one day, but that was no longer an option. Or
that's so funny.
So if they weren't going to eat it, and I'm just going to make it for me and Pete, then I'm going, are you worth the effort? And then if I'm time poor, gosh, just to down a few capsules, so I won't tease you. But even with oysters, if by chance you can access fresh oysters, which I know certain food markets are still, allowed to function, and there will be, seafood models that we have to support as well. So if you're lucky to get fresh oysters, even for people who don't love fresh oysters, they are so tasty if you've ever grilled them under a grill. Have you done them that way?
Nah.
So nice. If you go onto my my Pinterest boards,
I've
got a whole lot of liver recipes, but oyster recipes as well, because my challenge was my mother, who can't stand oysters. I mean, oysters, she'll never eat them. The thought of them raw just made her dry reach. But if you make a bit of a butter with some crushed garlic, make some really well chopped parsley.
Oh, I remember you did it at your house.
Yeah,
when we were there.
And cut the green butter out of it, and then you can freeze some as well and pull it out, little knobs of it when you need it. Yeah, dab that on the oysters, and then cover them in more grated parmesan and grill them.
Yum.
Grill up, and
that sounds amazing.
But, they're so tasty. And I promise you, even for the most ardent oyster hater who says they will never eat an oyster, it just tastes like white fish, honestly. And the other flavors, you want more and more. So
wow.
And again, you've got to make these things tasty. You've got to make them really delicious. Otherwise, you're not
going to eat them. Well, I'm going to get stuck back into my chili tinned ones next week. I've decided. I actually quite like them. They're the Crown Prince, but they're chili. They're a chili version. Yeah, they're actually really nice. I reckon they're better than the plain. Craig's a bit.
Or do they have
olive oil? Yeah, olive oil. But then they added chili to them. Yeah, but Craig's a bit of a wuss. He doesn't like the chili.
No, Craig's not a wuss because Craig can do cascara.
But I'm making him eat them. I'm like, we've got 30 tins. You've got to eat them. Okay, next is some form of dairy. So milk, cheese, yogurt, and don't worry about that it's not the perfect cheese, that it hasn't got the animal rennet or it's got, a bit of, I don't know, preservatives or whatever. Just get some cheese. Like if you go to the supermarket, you can definitely access some dairy or cheese or yogurt. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah,
just get something.
If that cheese you normally get is sold out and there's only some kind of ordinary cheese, and you're over-analysing the ingredients and thinking, Kitty would not,
just eat the cheese. Yeah.
Buy it. You've got to think, okay, is the benefit I'm going to get from all that calcium, all that protein, all that good casein in there, is that going to outweigh the minuscule amount of whatever enzyme or non-animal rennet, which, again, in a perfect world, would say if you have the choice, don't buy that cheese.
Of course.
But when you don't, you go, you know what? I'm going to get so much benefit from all these other compounds in this cheese that is more important to me than the potential, whatever. It's
only going to be a short period of time too. Like it's not going to be years and years. You may have to do it for a month or a few weeks and like that. You'll be fine. Those bit of preservatives and whatever in there is not going to kill you.
No, your body will be so happy and grateful to get that.
And I've seen this. There's loads of cheeses, different types of cheeses. There's milks. There's, just get anything that you can and eat it because the calcium, it's such an anti-stress.
Milk, honestly, all you could get was UHT in a carton.
Yeah.
the shelf, not in the fridge, that still has phenomenal benefits. I've had clients in the past who have come to me saying, look, you know, I'm open to your suggestion, but I just can't drink milk. I've tried every kind of milk. I've been told I've got lactose intolerance. I've been told I've got a dairy allergy, intolerance, whatever. No matter what, just can't do liquid milk. But I've still been kind of stubborn, gone, well, we just try this and this and this. And these were the people who might have had access to the best quality raw milk available, straight from the farmer. You know, seems perfect and all, which it is close to perfect. They couldn't tolerate that because that still has quite a bacterial load, being straight from the animal, hasn't been pasteurized, and that bacteria is not a problem for some people. But if you had massively small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, that is just a real issue for you. That dump of bacteria is, you know, the thing that can tip them over. But then for them, if they've had ultra heat treated, you know, the heavily pasteurized milk at very high temperature, they've been surprised to find they can glug it down, no problem. And they needed that further sterilizing, I suppose, and the whole bacterial element was taken away. And they could totally digest the lactose, no problem. So for them, it was a bacterial thing. So I've had some people that even in the most perfect scenario, when they could access what some would call the perfect milk, they can't tolerate the perfect one, but they can take UHT one. So to see them thrive on UHT milk was a lesson for me too, to go, you know, it's
interesting. Yeah. I think too, like there's loads of like, there's custards and yogurts with like milk solids. Just eat the milk solids. Like, don't worry about it. Like, just if that's what you can get, just get that, because it's a really good source of protein too. You know, and you're getting all that good calcium. So I think just, you've got to just ease back on the quality and just go, what can I get? And just do the best that you can and get some form of dairy and just get it in. No matter what it is. Because I mean, even the badder ones are not that bad. Like, they're not like, oh my God, I wouldn't ever.
I mean, you've probably got people from all over listening. I mean, we are particularly lucky in Australia. The dairy industry has been pretty well looked after. And even the most conventional milk is still very good. I mean, it's pretty much
and
all
cheeses and,
you know, it's
just get anything. Like, don't worry so much. Next, fruit juice, carbs. So I think, like, you know, with the orange juice, like people are like, oh, I can't get the right orange juice. I'm like, just get it. Like, I know some of the orange juices have like vitamin C and other stuff added. If that's the best that you can get, just get that, or just go for fruit, like any fruit. Any fruit, it doesn't matter. Like, we went into the supermarket yesterday and usually we wouldn't eat that much bananas or, you know, like, but I'm like, just who cares? Get the banana, let it ripen, you know, get whatever fruit that you can, get orange, just eat whole oranges. You know, don't worry that you can't get pulp-free juice.
And if the fruit that you're getting seems a bit ho-hum, it's not overly ripe, it's a bit crunchy, or the bananas are a bit, you know, they cause that, you know, when your tongue goes a bit from underripe banana, cook them. I mean, that kind of emulates the ripening process somewhat. So you might just get rock hard pears. Well, poach them for hours, or stew them, or blend them and, you know, roast them. Bananas are so nice when you know, caramelize them in a pan with a bit of butter and sugar, and they just collapse and soften, and they taste sweeter. Therefore, you've broken apart those pretty stubborn starches into smaller sugars. You've, you know, evolved them so they are somewhat pre-digested. And when things taste better and taste a bit sweeter, they usually they go down better at the same time. So do what you can to kind of facilitate that ripening process that they didn't get to have on the tree, or they've been stuck in cold storage. But again, I mean, there's amazing studies from way back from the 50s. I think they did on mice or something, but they took a bunch of mice who were given fresh, I don't know what the vegetable or fruit was, but they were given the fresh produce. Then another group were given the canned version, and the canned version thrived and the fresh raw one did not. So very interesting, because canned fruits are often, you know, poached or cooked somewhat. They're often picked riper, quicker, you know, preserved well, but they're softened, so therefore digestion's easier. You know, if you've eaten a hard, crunchy, fresh, even if it's organic peach, as opposed to a canned peach, you know, they're just, oh my God, they're succulent, you know. But it's you know, don't stress, and maybe you might find some tricks within all this that you go, actually, I do better with this. You know, maybe this whole slowing down and limiting our resources, we'll get more creative and we'll find some things that we do better on that we didn't realize.
And again, too, I think like a lot of the canned fruit, tin fruit has some preservatives in it. Just if that's the best that you can do, just eat it.
Yeah,
like it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, there's syrups and things like that. But I must say, look out in the supermarket for they're sometimes in the cooking section rather than the canned food section. In the canned section, you'll find fruits that are canned and they're called pie fruit rather than just, you know, your nicely neatly sliced peaches or something. You'll get apricots, you get apples that are tinned. They don't have any other syrups. They pretty much don't have any other ingredients. And they're just jammed in there. And they don't look pretty because they're made to go inside a pie or something.
Yeah.
But you can make crumbles and you can make, you know, mix them to a custard or something. And they're devoid of any other ingredients. They're pretty handy. But again, if you can't get that one and you get another imperfect one, just get it.
Just do the best you can. Yep, just eat it. Just you need the carbs and the sugar.
It's the stress of the overanalysis, which is to your detriment. And with everything we're trying to do, with the type of exercise we're doing, with the type of way we're trying to eat, with how we're preparing our foods, and we're trying to get more red light and sunlight, and we're trying to get more sleep. We are trying to mitigate stress. That's the whole aim in all of this. So if we approach our food by going, oh no, I shouldn't eat that. Oh no, that's not perfect. That's a lot of stress, and that's kind of toxic to us. So forget it, you know, as much as you can. And there will be enough stress in the coming months. Who knows what's around the corner. So just chill a bit with the food and know that you're still going to do yourself huge.
Yeah. Because I really like even the places like I've been chatting to some clients that like people have just taken all the food. There's still stuff left. It may not be the perfect stuff, but there's canned fruit, some fruits, there's some forms of dairy, you know, so you can get stuff. It just might have some preservatives in it. It might have some enzymes. It might, who cares? Just eat it.
Apparently there's going to be potentially a resurgence of farmers markets because they're allowed to keep trading. I'm hearing around Melbourne too, they might set up more inner city in places that we normally didn't have farmers markets. And they're still going to have produce coming, you know. So I don't know. I think there might be an interesting, you know, further support of those kind of suppliers. We might be able to get direct from the source sometimes. You know, I think there'll be more options than we think, hopefully. And support your smaller traders because they're often the ones that can restock more readily because they go straight to the market every day. Whereas Coles, they can't restock a whole Coles overnight. You know, it's too much, and it's that's why that looks so empty in the larger supermarkets. But then the smaller food stores often look a bit more abundant.
And let's talk about protein because, you know, people were a bit worried about the like protein and how to get up there. So a lot of people saying they can't get eggs. So obviously let's talk about the different protein sources. So we've got seafood. Again, like if you go to the supermarket and you can get seafood that's not ocean caught, that might have a bit of like try to avoid the ones that are all crumbed and shit, you know, just like the plain frozen prawns or fish. You know, there's heaps of like hoki and other stuff. Just get that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it's not ocean caught. Don't worry about it. Just get the protein in. Obviously, the dairy again. So just choose any dairy that you can get. Don't worry too much about if it's.
Forget that milk is protein too.
Yeah.
But it's just a very easy, direct way. Yeah.
You know, any sort of meats that you can get. You may not be able to get your perfect meats, but again, just go to your local butcher, get what you can get. The casein is really good. Our clean casein, you know, it's really high in protein. And you could have, you know, what would 60 grams of that have in it a day?
60 grams.
60 grams.
30 grams are all scoop.
Yeah. So if you had two serves of it a day, you'd probably get like 50 grams of protein. I can't remember. The new gel as well, gelatin. So, you know, gelatin can count towards your protein count. So if you had 3 tablespoons of gelatin, that's like 21 grams of protein. Then if you had a couple of scoops of this and then you threw, how much? 50?
Yeah. So the normal serving of 30 grams is 26 grams of protein.
Yeah. So you get 50 grams. That like if you're eating 100 grams of protein, like most women in our.
Apparently, from whoever made this, I can't
remember. You're eating like between 100 to 120 grams of protein. You have a couple of scoops of that. This is if you can't get stuff, like a couple of scoops of that, some new gel. You've nearly hit your protein target for the day. You could then just get some sort of dairy, some cheese or milk or yogurt or whatever you can get. And like you've pretty much would have hit your dairy. Get some frozen fish, whatever frozen stuff you can get. You should easily be able to hit your protein goal, I think.
You already can't get eggs. I mean, who's hoarding that much eggs that everyone
Oh,
can't get a few eggs?
yeah, I know, crazy. Yeah, so like eggs, any sort of frozen seafood if you can get it, any sort of meats if you can get it. You may not be able to eat perfect meat, but again, who cares?
Yeah, soak up in sausages and meats and things like that, and
Yeah,
batches of bolognese, and you can inject a bit of extra gelatin there. You can
yeah.
throw in some stock, throw in whatever you've got around in the freezer.
Yeah, I think again, like we say, it's just the important thing is not to be try to be perfect. You know, you can like say top up with the casein and the new gel. You can make smoothies. You can just bloody mix it on its own if you wanted to. That'd be not that great though.
Have a bit of extra time, which we might. If and when you do get eggs, don't throw out your eggshells. You know, collect them every week. Make your eggshell calcium
powder for extra calcium. Yeah, that's a good idea.
It's almost entirely calcium, and you just blend it up. You've got months worth of calcium right there. So
yeah. And, you know, if your fruit, like I was thinking the other day when I went to the supermarket, the little Ferry Road, like there was some fruit that wasn't that ripe. I just got it. And I can just cook it up and add some sugar. Like just add sugar into it. Like that's fine. I've got some tinned stuff in the, yeah. It's so good. Like it's not, I think you just have to stop thinking that you have to be perfect and just do the best that you can, and then supplement, you know, like with the casein and the new gel and the liver tablets if you need to, just to get the oysters in, and then you'll get all the nutrients that you need.
I'm so glad we got these liver capsules done before all this, because
same.
halted progress and we would never have them. But even for my own selfish needs, for my family too, I'm just going, we have liver, we will survive.
Oh, I know. It's like this amazing superfood.
Oh, just every day when you go, just trying to restrict because I've got that frozen, I don't want to get that out, and I'm not sure what happened, but I've got liver. Tick.
Yeah, I know. We'll just live off liver. I'm just going to have a look in the page if there's any questions, because I know people might ask some questions, but I just can't see. Let me have a look. Where is it? I'm just trying to see where the live is. Groups. We're not live. Where are we live? Maybe it's under. Let me have a look in here. Here we go. I can see it. Hello. No, there doesn't seem to be any specific questions. Do you think we've covered? Should we just do a quick recap, Emma, on what we covered? So the main things to focus on to get your nutrients. And if you can't get one or more of these things, don't stress out too much. Like, so the liver, so either get some fresh liver or frozen liver, or grab the liver, A+ liver tablets. The oysters, if you can get them. So get, obviously fresh is best market. Obviously, ideally not in vegetable oil, but if they are, just drain it out. You know, pat it dry. You can even rinse it under some hot water to get it off. But they're really cheap too. They're like $1.30, I think. Oysters in the supermarket. So you just have a dozen of them a week, and you'll be getting all that amazing zinc, selenium, and copper. Dairy. So just get the dairy in: custard, ice cream, cheese, milk, whatever you can get. Don't stress out about the quality so much. You know, if it's not perfect, if it has any like additives and stuff, milk solids, if that's the best that you can get, just get it and don't worry about it. You're not going to die. It's only going to be a few months. And then fruits or juice. Again, too, I think about the juice. Like, if you can't get the perfect juice, don't worry. Like a bit of what do they usually typically put in the other juices that's not that we sort of added vitamin C, like, you know, it's only going to be for a few months. And
things too that, you know, if you squeeze fresh juice and if you left it in the fridge for an hour, it settles, and you see that clear area at the top and it's all quite dense in color at the bottom. They put all sorts of additional enzymes and things that makes it kind of homogenous, so the color looks neat, which why it looks so nice when it does that, because you know it's real. So there's those sort of additives. They might put additional citric acid or ascorbic acid.
That's it. Yeah, citric acid. But that's not going to kill you, right? Like, if you just drink some non-optimal juice, and, you know, you might find some other juices, apple, pear, you know, combinations. You know, I know there's some juices at our supermarket that aren't as good as Nudie, but I'm like, they're not that bad. So it's just like, get whatever you can get.
I think do the best everything. And I talk about this with clients a lot, and I say, imagine there's a long string. It's like that long spectrum. You've got one end of the spectrum where you're living off McDonald's, KFC, packet chips, frozen pizzas, too much alcohol. And then you've got the other end of the spectrum. You know, you'd have to be living in the countryside with your own chickens and everything's homegrown and perfect and tree ripened and you've got your own cow, whatever. That would be perfect. So you just got to think, where in the spectrum am I? And, you know, if you look too closely over it and overanalyze things, you might go, this is not perfect, stress me out. You know, it's not as perfect as last week when I could get the stuff. Don't sweat that. Look at the full spectrum and go, look, I'm doing pretty well. Compared to that, or compared to where I was 2 years ago, this is pretty damn good. You know, and you're not going to aspire to be at the perfect end because you'll never get there. I mean, I'm not going to buy a cow, but you've just got to think the big picture. And for most people, how most people are living or under eating, what you're doing now, even in your most imperfect days, is so far better than where most people are at. So, yeah. And I think in this time too, just enjoy it and use the extra time at home in the kitchen just to play with other recipes or obviously involve the kids. And think back to what your great grandmother might have done, you know, and the things she would have come up with the most basic ingredients and how they would have just been quite resourceful, and make sure you got sugar on hand. But you know, it's yeah, will be fun.
Just any sugar, like brown sugar, white sugar's fine, you know, like again, don't have to be perfect, just whatever you can get.
Well, this is another thing, and I've been seeing, you know, when you see silly things floating around on the internet, whatever, and at this time you see everyone posting things about how to boost your immunity. Like, you don't really boost it, you have an immune system. But anyway, but a lot of the random posts you'll see are people making note of all the better time to cut back on sugar because sugar, what do they say? There was some quote I saw and it said, sugar basically turns off your immune system for at least half an hour after you eat it, or something like that.
How ridiculous.
Based on nothing. If they understood the thymus, which is basically your immune system, without a thymus gland, you cannot produce antibodies. The thymus gland, when it's left without sugars for an extended period of time, it literally dissolves. Because most of your stored sugars, you know, apart from your glycogen in your brain, are in your thymus gland, and they're a reserve sugar when your blood sugar runs low. And they found that the more stressed a person is, the more they've put themselves through fasts and starvations, or the older a person is, they literally have a dissolved thymus gland down to nothing. And you can completely rebuild it once you allow your body to have enough fuel. But sugar is imperative, because if you don't eat the sugar directly, your body will send up the cortisol and race around to try and dissolve and find wherever, you know, compartments of the body there are sugars. You know, anything to keep blood sugar steady and keep you alive. So, you know, in times of stress, we require more sugars definitely to offset that, protect your thymus gland, keep your immunity strong. So anyway, don't let those kind of posts sway you know, and if they do, question it, look at what they're basing their, you know, claims on.
I think it's like, you've just like, do everything that we tell you, you know, eat all the food.
More of what we're doing.
Yeah, like eat enough, you know, have enough energy. Don't like get enough sleep, get out and get sun, you know, eat the gelatin.
Don't forget the basics.
Yeah, eat the oysters, eat the liver, eat the fruit, eat the juice, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just get it in. And all of those things are going to contribute to a strong and well-functioning metabolism, which is going to mean a strong immune system. Like I never get sick ever, like touch wood, because metabolism is good, you know, so it's like, it's not one thing or one food. I think that's why people go, oh, boost your immunity with this. It's all of the things.
Yeah. So true. Yeah.
Junction. So it's like, do the basic, or the carrot salad.
Flexible. That's it. Because when your food intake suddenly runs low, it's a signal to the body that times of stress are here, or in a famine state, quick stress goes up and quick going to storage mode. It's not a good sign to tell your body that, you know, fuel is restricted. You've got to provide the body plentiful fuel and tell it that things are okay. And there's, you know, obviously emotional stress, there's life stress, you know, all of that, but there's physiological stress when certain compounds and enough fuel in general doesn't come in. So keep it coming.
I think too, you know, like if you're getting all those base nutrients, like you're eating the liver, the oysters, and you're getting some dairy in and you're getting some fruit, then just top up your energy with sugar. Like Craig just eats a shitload of sugar, but he's got all those base nutrients covered, you know, so it's fine, you know, like.
And the more sugar you provide, you can upscale your metabolic rate, but with that comes that kind of commitment to also upscale your nutrients. And this is where, when you are getting your liver in, you know, in small amounts daily if you can, therefore your body goes, okay, I can tolerate more sugars, therefore I can upscale things further. So it's this kind of positive cycle, but they need to go hand in hand, absolutely. And then on top of that, if you can get, you know, the quality sleep being imperative in all of this. You know, if you're not getting good quality sleep, honestly, no amount of perfect food is going to save you. You need restorative sleep every night. You need to recover. And just the feedback we're getting on the casein for the sleep.
It's insane. I actually can't believe it.
Like we was expecting. Absolutely.
Yeah, like way better. Like we obviously knew it was a good product, but it's just so many great reviews, and the liver tablets are reviewed.
It's
crazy.
I think I've noticed it. My sleep was already fine, I think. But hearing the stories from the people who had pretty severe insomnia, because I mean, the studies show that it reduces nighttime stress. So therefore, it only makes sense if stress is low, you can induce rest. And it's so nice to see that. But it's a reminder that our body's needing fuel, you know, being topped up continuously. And what are you going to have right before bed? And what are you going to allow yourself to be absorbing throughout the nighttime hours? The body doesn't like to starve.
No. No one likes to starve. God.
Fasting, it sounds a bit fancier, but it's just
fasting. Can't believe I used to fast. I don't know how I used to do it. Kill me now. I'll just have a look if we've got any more questions just in case. Let me have a look, see if anyone's. Oh, here we go. Yay, I've got some questions. Linda Mills, morning ladies, over here in the UK. I think the panic buying is finally starting to settle down, and I've never struggled to get what I was looking for. The small farms, shops and butchers are definitely the best place to find goods you may not find in your supermarkets. Oh, good. That's good from Linda Mills. So any women that are in the UK, you know, like we said before, support the local. Do you know what though? We went out to get stuff and we just couldn't get toilet paper. We're down to like our last roll. And I said to Craig, I'm like, it's going to be like in Dubai, like the douche wash, you know, we'll have to like do a poo and then jump in the shower. And it's like, we don't need to know that, Kitty, but hopefully we'll get some.
There's
okay. Danielle wrote, is it okay to get minced beef liver with minced beef and cook it into bolognese? Yeah, absolutely. Totally. Get the liver minced in. That's a great idea. How much canned oysters should we have in a week? 12. Hey, Emma, 12.
12 cans or
not 12 cans, 12, but in the little tinned oysters, just eat one tin. Like that's adequate. That'll have about.
For most people is you couldn't go to
Nikki,
although if you started craving more, go with it.
Have a bit more. Yeah, and they're a good source of protein too. And they're cheap. Just don't go crazy. Hey, like how many tins would you cap it at, do you reckon? 2?
I think if someone was depleted, you know, they could do with more than a dozen oysters. But I think if you eat a dozen a week, you're going to go.
You're going to be good. Yeah. Nikki, can we do more than 8 liver tabs a day? Yep. I do 6 morning, 6 night, because I was eating over 150 grams of liver a day. And so that's fine, hey, Emma, to eat. Just basically you could eat the equivalent to what you would.
I mean, there's always talk of vitamin A toxicity, but normally that comes with your synthetic vitamin A. Although, look, it's been said, but I think when someone's eating a large serve of liver 3-4 times a week, you go, pull back. But I think 6 tablets twice a day, you're not going to be.
It's good, you know, I'm actually so glad we got those smaller tablets because I can swallow 6 all at once. You know, I was thinking, if we got, because we tested a couple of different sizes, and the reason we didn't get the bigger ones is because we were like, oh, you can't bloody swallow them.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, I've had so many people that when you have them play with some kind of supplement, they literally have a gag reflex, if anything, it's a bit too big. And kids, certainly, they just won't go near it if they're enormous. They're a bit off-putting. So you can just take more of them if they're small.
I don't think there's any more comments. It says 8 comments, but I can only see 4. If I click on the comments, I think I've got them all. I'll have a look on my phone again. Where are my groups? We're not live. I wonder if it says, if we're under Craig's. Oh yeah, it's Craig's. If I search Craig, that's why I couldn't see. I don't know why it's not coming up. It's weird. Yeah, I think I've got all the questions actually. Yeah. So everyone, just email us for your home program. I'll get those videos. I probably won't get them all cut tonight, but we'll get them up on the website for you. We've done some pretty cool ones. We've got these awesome, actually, and after we did it, we're like, oh, you can actually do some really good exercise with the bands. We've got these packs on the website, Nutrient website. They're long resistance bands, and they come in all different.
Oh, so you can do it for these feet.
Yeah. So we did a whole heap of exercises with them today, and some of them are really hard resistance. I was doing some shoulder ones. I was like, oh, this is fucking hard. And they're cheap and they don't take up any space. We did the programs with because we're like, well, how can we get creative with the weight? So we've got a backpack, and so we filled it with. We got some textbooks, water bottles, a bag of potatoes, so you can actually add the weight in.
And so there's no excuse there not to do.
And so we did. Craig's done all these awesome programs, and you can just measure the weight with the backpack. So you can be like, I'll start with 5. I'll fill it with 5 kilos. Next week I'll do 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and pretty much you can fill it. And we were doing squats, lunges.
Water bottle. Water itself is heavy, isn't it?
Yeah. There's heaps of different stuff, and he's done up some really cool programs and some pause stuff, and that we're giving to the women, and they've been saying that they're quite challenging. Well, even today I was just like, don't make me do 50 reps. I was like, when we were doing the video.
I'm sure the last 48 hours or so has been fairly stressful for Craig. All of a sudden people saying, my gym's been shut. What do I do? Oh my God. And Trey's like, shit, I'm going to have to make all this, modifications. But in the long term, this is awesome to have because from here on, people can't ever say to you, I can't afford a gym membership or I can't afford the equipment at home. You can say, oh, no, we have a program that if you can survive the apocalypse, you can survive anything.
Yeah, you can do it at home. Yeah, get all the food. It's such a great chance to, I think, for all the women in our program. We've just released this new nutrition program, and Emma did a lot of videos with me in that, and Keith and Danny, and there's so much good new content in there. So it's a really great opportunity just to learn and sit and take the time.
Revise the stuff
There's all the lessons in there, the popping the food bubble lessons. And everyone's so manic day to day, but now it's train at home, do your food, learn all the stuff in the website.
We're doing good anything. And I think revising the stuff that you've already read, you might think, oh yeah, no, I read that, because now that your knowledge will be gone up to here, when you reread that old stuff, you'll go, oh, I didn't even pick that up before because I kind of skimmed over it because it didn't make sense to me then, or go back and take this time to do all that. Absolutely. And I think there's that reassurance in, okay, so just say if we were pushing a program with fresh celery juice and you have your Himalayan superfoods on hand and I don't know, quite particular ingredients, you'd probably be stressing out right now. Whereas we've always harped on about cheese, eggs, powder casein, pretty some canned food and a bit of whatever fruit you can find and cook it up and some white sugar. I mean,
potatoes, rice,
adjustments you need to make.
It's just I think now more than ever, it's if you're just not going to get the brands that you want, and you're just not going to get those really, sometimes there's going to be added preservatives, but who gives a shit? Just eat the food. Don't stress about it. Do the best you can. Hit the macros with the choice.
Probably going to force people to see what gains they can get from simpler brands, more accessible things, maybe more local things, and then from that you might go, you know what, I'm actually going to stick with this. I actually feel fine on it. It'll be interesting to see what comes out of it, and I think there will be hopefully some positives too.
Oh, and you know what, say it will blow over. Maybe we'll be in quarantine or whatever you call it, lockdown for 8 weeks, and then everyone will go back to work and it'll, things will resume. We just have to get through this period, keep your food up, keep your training up.
This is it, and don't let you go, because if you're not strong and you're not well, and there's going to be more requirements on mum, and there's going to be more they're going to be in your face all day long. So important not to go, oh, I'll let that go, to shit for a while because I'm just too busy cleaning up after them. No, it's all more important to
and don't I understand it's a stressful time, us more than any, we have a business, this is gonna hurt us, our business, but it's I know that drinking isn't going to help me. You know, like keeping my food up, going to bed, getting up, doing my walking every day, keeping my training going, like the consistency with that makes me feel better, you know. And I think you've just got to, it's going to pass, you know, we just have to get through it and stay. Yeah.
You know, it's going to be when we'll look back and we'll go, God, I remember that, living through that.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. But yeah, it'll all go on, and yeah, people and don't let go of those amazing habits that you work so hard to make a natural thing for you.
Yeah, put your home gym request in. Yeah. So let me just check if there's any more questions. Every time I check, there's a question. Oh, hey, Brody. So do we gauge things on how we feel? If it makes us feel crap, then don't eat it. But if we feel fine eating something that's not optimal, then we continue. Yeah, absolutely. Totally. And I think too, like Brody's obviously got a lot more issues, or she has had, like the more compromised your metabolism and your digestion, obviously the more sensitive you are. And I think that's a great, like if it makes you feel really shit, don't continue eating it. But just monitor it and test and see how you go. And if you're fine and it's just maybe a little bit not as good as your normal stuff, like it's fine.
Well, I have some people with pretty serious allergies to mainly the sulfurs and things that can be used to preserve certain fish and things, particularly if the fish is from overseas. And literally their mouth will swell up and they can almost not breathe. So for them, you know, again,
not a good idea.
Serious allergies, and you know, you'd still, I wouldn't say stop looking at ingredients entirely and going whatever. No. Still check your ingredients to things that you go, oh, I wouldn't have even thought that was in there. And that is actually an allergy for me. You've still got to double check.
Of course.
Because it can be surprising what certain chemicals show up in foods that you wouldn't have thought they were even there. So still be cautious of those kind of life-threatening things. But otherwise, but otherwise, like Brady said, you know, use your
best you can.
Response to it as a gauge. And if you've had that and it seems like a inferior brand, but you went, that actually went down okay, I'm asymptomatic, go with it. It's absolutely fine. And other things you might need to, you know, still hunt down if you can, but yeah, absolutely, if you're feeling good.
I mean, you could probably mostly get away with not even any packaged food, really. Like, you've just got some whatever meat, you know, like, but yeah, like we say, you've just got to look at the choices you have and do the best you can.
Yes.
That's
actually,
it.
One thing, we were talking about this the other day, but things like potatoes, you know, look up how people store potatoes correctly. Because I know myself, I'm a victim of this, but I'll pretty much buy day by day. That's my shopping. So then I get into trouble in these sort of scenarios where I go, I've got to be a bit more prepared. But potatoes, I don't ever buy enough for that night's dinner, because if I got more than that and I didn't store them correctly, you know, they sprout and they go a bit green and they're pretty toxic. You don't want to touch them. But knowing how to store them correctly, just in a cupboard box, and cover them in a dry, cool environment out of the light, they should last quite a while. Kind of stockpile potatoes a little bit.
I know. It's like we say, just do the best that you can and don't stress yourself out more about being perfect.
No.
Yeah. I'll just have one more look and see if we've got any questions. It says, I just don't know why it says 12 comments and I can only see like 4 of them. I think we got
them. Kitty, you're disappointing me.
Yeah.
I'm usually the one going, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah. She's like, oh, perfect. I've got 10 kilos of white rice, so we're eating lots of fried rice. Oh, I love a bit of fried rice.
Oh, yeah. Or rice pudding.
We love Thai, don't we?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
Curry paste. I stocked up on curry paste.
Curry paste. Yeah, good one. Yeah, coconut milk, rice. Well, thanks so much, Emma. I really appreciate it. I'm sure so does everyone else. And if you have any questions that we've missed, just shoot them through to me. And if I don't know, I can ask Emma.
Oh, you know it all, Kitty.
No, I know some things.
Well, it's probably going to be fascinating to watch your group communicating through all this tree, you know, coming up with resourceful ways of using things and chips and potato skins. I'm getting really desperate.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Emma, and we'll chat to you again soon.
Thanks, Kitty.
Bye. Bye.